Good morning. From the News and Public Affairs Department, welcome to King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Thursday, November 5th, 2025. That's 2025. And I'm Newton Tokba presenting stories we following. This morning, Solidarity and Trust for a New Day threatens to boycott planned meeting with the Minister of Justice if the current leadership of the Liberal Council of Churches is included. Stan says the religious group is compromised. Criminal Court C presiding judge Usman Feka orders former Foreign Affairs Deputy Minister for Administration, Madam Thelma Sawyer, to surrender her passport for allegedly misleading the court regarding the duration of her medical stay. Liberia Refugees Repatriation and Resettlement Commission seeks the amendment of an act establishing the LRRC in order to expand its mandate to include its authority to create awareness of statelessness. And away from Liberia, at least 9 people have been killed after UPS cargo plane crashes in Kentucky. These plus the news bulletin, our international development, and our package. We are taking a very short break to be right back. Thanks for rejoining us. Let's now have the news bulletin. The Solidarity and Trust for a New Day stand has confirmed receipt of the Minister of Justice invitation to roundtable security meeting. Stern is being called to the meeting by the government ahead of its December 17 Lead or Leave protest. Many have described the planned meeting between the civil society group and the government as affirmation of readiness for peaceful coordination. However, Stern has threatened to boycott the meeting if the current leadership of the Liberal Council of Churches is included. According to Stern, the LCC leadership is compromised and has presented the council as a regime collaborator, adding that they have lost moral credibility through silence, bias, and unethical alliances with power. Stern maintains its commitment to non-violent democratic advocacy and insists that any engagement with external parties must uphold fairness, neutrality, and integrity as the Liberian people prepared for fearless demand accountability, justice, and good governance. Criminal Court C presiding judge Usman Feke has ordered former Deputy Minister for Administration at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Madam Thelma Sawyer, to surrender her passport and report to the court every Wednesday. The judge's action follows findings which indicate that Sawyer allegedly misled the court regarding the duration of her medical leave. The former Deputy Minister for Administration at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is said to have overstayed her approved absence by 15 days without prior notice. During the hearing, the legal team of Madam Sawyer admitted to the breach, describing it as an error on the part. According to reports, initially, Madam Sawyer requested a 1-month medical leave in September but failed to notify the court of her extended absence. The court's order forms part of ongoing proceedings into claims that she deceived judicial authorities and violated the terms of her release. At the same time, in separate motion, the Ministry of Justice and the Asset Recovery Property Retrieval Task Force petitioned the court to set aside the bail bond filed for Sawyer and other co-defendants, requesting her recommitment to the Monrovia Central Prison, citing violations of legal procedure. The development is linked to a broader corruption case involving the alleged theft of 25,054 bags of rice valued at US $425,918, donated by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for disaster victims in Liberia. In early June of this year, the grand jury of Montserrat County indicted 12 current and former government officials on multiple criminal charges, including Mary Brown, former GSA Director General, D. Maxwell Kimian, Senior, former Foreign Affairs Minister, Thelma Sawyer, former Deputy Minister, and Helen O. Williams, former NDMA Director, among others. They were accused and arrested in June and initially remanded at the Monrovia Central Prison before being temporarily released under human surety's bond with a deadline to file valid criminal appearance bonds by July 4th, 2025. The bond value as US 851,840 was filed by the American Underwriter Group Incorporated on behalf of Mary Brown, D. Maxwell Kimia, Thelma Sawyer, Idris Belite, Momolu Johnson, and Vani Salif. The Executive Director of Liberia Refugees Repatriation and Resettlement Commission is proposing the amendment of Act establishing the LRRC in order to expand its mandate to include its authority to create awareness and statelessness. Jackson Pay said, since the establishment of the LRRC, the West African Regional Organization, ECOWAS, and the United Nations have all added another challenges when it comes to issues of people made stateless on the universe. Pate made the proposals when he delivered the keynote speech marking the observance of the 11th anniversary of the World Day Against Statelessness organized by the Liberal Campaign to End Statelessness in Achiton, Montreal County on Tuesday. Remarking during the program, the convener of the Liberal Campaign to End Statelessness, Bishop Cotto Brown, underscored the need for the Liberian government to conduct a survey in order to know the number of stateless people in Liberia. According to Bishop Brown, a lot of people are gradually becoming stateless, and this has the propensity to deny these people the rights to basic social services. The president of the National Trial Judges Association of Liberia, Judge Nesesami, has urged the newly appointed magistrates to serve with integrity and independence. Speaking on behalf of the National Trial Judges Association of Liberia at a commissioning ceremony held on Tuesday at the Temple of Justice, Judge Sami congratulated the newly appointed magistrates. She described the occasion as a continued effort toward improving access to justice across the country. Judge Sami maintained that the new magistrates reminded them that their role represents the first step to justice in Liberia's judicial system and emphasized their decision should be fair and timely. She reaffirmed that the National Trial Judges Association of Liberia has always championed the call for competence within the legal profession and urged the appointees to serve with integrity and accountability as the foundation of a credible justice system. Judge Simon encouraged the magistrates to carry out their duties with humility, trust, and independence. Labor rights advocate and chief executive officer of Liberia Labor and Governance Alliance, Josh Tengbe, has submitted a draft bill to the House of Representatives seeking to amend Chapter 16, Section 16 of the Decent Work Act of 2015. Speaking to King's FM Wednesday, Tengbe described Liberia's current minimum wage structure as shockingly low and inconsistent with the standards of International Labour Organization. According to him, the proposed amendment aims to establish a comprehensive and enforceable minimum wage framework covering both the formal and informal sectors of the Liberian economy. He noted that under the existing law, skilled and unskilled workers in these sectors earn between US 3.50 and US 5.50 per day, which he characterized as a disservice to Liberian laborers. Tengben emphasized that the proposed bill also seeks to promote equitable labor market reform, clearly distinguish between formal and informal workers, and create a national minimum wage commission responsible for regular wage reviewers and enforcement. The labor rights advocate further appealed to the leadership of the House of Representatives to give urgent consideration to the proposed amendment, which is said is essential for improving the welfare and dignity of Liberian workers. The political leader of the National Republic People's Party, Councillor David Wua, has sharply criticized the Boubacar administration for what he described as its failure to address Liberia's pressing economic challenges and rising on employment. Speaking Wednesday in Brown County during the official declaration of his intention to contest the presidency in 2029 general and presidential elections, Councillor Ward accused the government of prioritizing self-interest over the welfare of the Liberian people. He alleged widespread corruption and abuse of rule of law within the current administration, describing corruption as a deadly virus that has long undermined Liberia's development and crippled efforts to improve the lives of the ordinary people. According to him, Liberia can only make meaningful progress when public officials serve with integrity and patriotism. He, however, vowed to root out corruption from the country, adding that his government will focus on transparency, accountability, and good governance if elected president in 2029. Councillor Ward also urged Liberians to make informed choices in 2029 elections, emphasizing that the nation's future depends on the decision they make 2029. CDC former Bond County Chairman Sibley Vayao has accused former Vice President Joe Howard Taylor and Representative Mervyn Cole of influencing major appointments in Bond County during the regime of the CDC government. Vayao said he had dreamed of becoming city mayor of Banga City and was promised by the CDC leadership, but his hope was later dashed due to alleged political influence from some higher-ups in the county. He claimed that Representative Mervyn Cole later intervened, which resulted in his appointment as Labor Commissioner of the county. The CDC's former Bond County chairman noted that there was serious internal wrangling in the coalition, noting that he was pressured to leave the CDC and join the MPP, something he vehemently opposed. Vayao explained that the internal fights and pressurization led to his resignation as county chairman. The Steppenary Magistrate of the Monrovia City Court, Ben Bako, has rescinded his ruling in the case between defendant Kenneth Wilson and Jamel Cox of the Stella Maris University after dropping criminal charges against defendant Kenneth. Magistrate Bako Wednesday reinstated charges on defendant Kenneth Wilson consistent with law. Magistrate Bako acknowledged some legal blunders after dismissing the criminal charges against the female student and was compelled to correct it to change his previous decision. His decision means that defendant Wilson criminal prosecution is expected to continue at the Monrovia City Court in a couple of days. Recently, the court restored defendant Kenneth Wilson rights based on a motion filed by prosecuting lawyers that the matter has exceeded the 30 days period consistent with the Rule 9 of the Rule Governing Magisterial Courts. In March 2025, Kenneth Wilson allegedly assaulted Jamel Cox at Stella Maris University campus. The Citizen Movement for Change. Political leader Musa Hassan Beliti has announced plans of constructing a bridge in Sino County day after the government rejected his previous request for permit to construct a 38-meter bridge in Bond County. He noted that he would instead undertake a similar project in Sino County, his wife's home county. On Tuesday, the government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Public Works, rejected the CMC request to construct a $1 million bridge in Bond County. Prior to the government's rejection, CMC, through its political leader, informed citizens of Bond County of a construction of a bridge value over US $1 million to improve road access for residents in that part of the country who struggle with transportation challenges. However, following the announcement, the government through the Ministry of Public Works halted the project, citing CMC's failure to secure the necessary construction permits for which a major infrastructure initiative requires. In a press release issued on Tuesday, the Ministry of Public Works instructed the Citizens Movement for Change to discontinue all bridge construction activities until proper authorization is obtained. Reacting to the government's decision, Representative Musa Beliti of Nima County Electoral District Number 7 took to Facebook, humorously connecting the matter to his personal life, saying his 28-year marriage is in the government's hands. The CMC, in a press statement issued Wednesday, also condemned the government rejection of its bridge project for residents of the county. A 10-man dedication from the Richmond First Baptist Church in Virginia, United States, is in Liberia as guests of the Mount Galilee Baptist Church in Carisbrooke, Montserrat County. The delegation is visiting the church as part of the church's 169th anniversary, and he was from a Richmond First Baptist Church. The founder of Mount Galilee Baptist missionary, Lord Kerry, was sent to evangelize in Liberia a little over 169 years ago. Speaking during the program, welcoming the dedication from the U.S., the pastor, Richmond First Baptist Church in Virginia, United States, Reverend Dr. Jim Somerville, said Lord Kerry and others have laid the foundation of the church to present generation. According to him, it is time for the present generation to run with the torch passed over to them to carry. The Center for National Documents and Records Agency has begun the 5-day capacity building training aimed at strengthening staff skills in transcription of vital public documents and including landies, legal instruments, letters of administration, and court decrees. The training taking place in Monrovia brings together 10 participants from various departments, including marriage, public records, maintenance, printing and building project, program planning, and scanning sections. Speaking during the opening ceremony, the Director of Human Resources sent formally urged participants to uphold integrity and fairness throughout the transcription process. Formally emphasized that the credibility of the institution depends heavily on the quality and honesty of its workforce. Providing an overview of the training, Jad Kawi, technical supervisor and lead facilitator in the Public Records Division, said the exercise is designed to enhance the transcription of the agency legal documents for preservation and future reference. Kawi highlighted the importance of ethical conduct and attention to detail, urging participants to work with diligence and clarity. He reminded participants that their work serves the nation and contributes to maintaining the National Archives as a trusted reference hub for courts and the public. And over 100,000 Liberian dollars was reportedly stolen after armed robbers attacked the residence of businessman Frank Tuazama in Benstown along the Marshall Road in Maggie County early Wednesday morning. Speaking to Kings FM via cell phone, Tuazama's fiancé, Evid Goto, recounted the harrowing experience. She explained that more than 15 armed men carrying guns and other deadly weapons forcibly entered their compound, demanding money while discharging live rounds at her and her husband. According to Mr. Goto, the alleged armed robbers made away with substantial amount of cash, leaving their home severely damaged. She added that the incident has left her family, particularly her children, deeply traumatized and fearful. Mr. Goto is appealing to the national government, to the Liberian National Police to expedite the investigation and ensure that justice is served. Tuazama and the fiancé, Mr. Goto, operate a morning exchange business at Boys Town Junction in Maggie County. Well, if you just joining us, a reminder you're listening to King's News, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Thursday, November 6, 2025, and I'm Newton Tokwa presenting stories we following this morning. The Solidarity and Trust for a New Day threatens to boycott planned meeting with the Minister of Justice if the current leadership of the Liberia Council of Churches is included. Stan says the religious group is compromised. Criminal Court C presiding Judge Usman Fekat orders former Foreign Affairs Deputy Minister for Administration, Madam Thelma Sawyer, to surrender her passport for allegedly misleading the court regarding the duration of her medical stay. Liberia Refugees Repatriation and Resettlement Commission seeks the amendment of an act establishing the LRRC in order to expand its mandate to include its authority to create awareness of statelessness. Away from Liberia, at least 9 people have been killed after UPS cargo plane crashes in Kentucky. These are stories we follow here this morning on King's Newsroom. We are taking another short break and we'll come back. We'll bring you the voices of the newsmakers. Thanks for rejoining. And on this development, that's the political leader of the National Republic People's Party, Councillor David Ward, has sharply criticized the Boakai Kono administration for what he described as its failure to address Liberia's pressing economic challenges and rising unemployment. Speaking to Wednesday in Broom County, during the official declaration of his intention to contest the presidency in 2029 general and presidential elections, Councillor Ward accused the government of prioritizing self-interest over the welfare of the Liberian people.
Managed for the benefit of our leaders, not us. Why do I say so? Because by the time they get there 6 years, they become millionaires. Money, President take, Vice President, eventually reach to us to build a school, it can be plenty. So we are suffering. And I tell you the truth, this country, for us, we are getting older, but for you, you are young and your future matters. Your future matters. Yeah. You have your future into your hands. No suitable condition for entrepreneurship. There are people who go to school, they are agriculturists. People who go to school, they are nurses. They are business people. Why we cannot grow them into entrepreneurs? Somebody go to university and get an agricultural degree, then he sits down. Why? Because he got no money to move forward. No money to move forward. If the government was sensitive, Liberia will be feeding itself right now. Because we got enough agriculturists in this country. But they need push. They need funding. They need improved seeds. They need to modernize our farming. Even pepper, we can import. What's a disgrace? Then why do we have agriculture universities? You can import pepper. Why? Why do we have it? No push. They serve their term $34 billion US. Can you imagine that? One minister. Corruption has ravaged our country. No accountability.
Councillor Ward alleged widespread corruption and abuse of rule of law within the current administration, describing corruption as a deadly virus that has long undermined Liberia's development and crippled efforts to improve the lives of the ordinary citizens. According to him, Liberia can only make meaningful progress when public officials serve with integrity and patriotism.
They are eating your future. I'm telling you something. Because after 10, 15 years, the minerals are supposed to be there. They will not be there. They are eating your future. So your future is in your hands. 2029, your future will be in your hands. You can choose to remain the same. You can choose to remain the same, or you can choose to change your destiny because it's in your hand. So why are we going to with all of this? 6 years, after 6 years, we are getting the same place turning around. We're not going forward as a country. Where are we going with that? Your voices are never heard. As you from this country, your voices matters to me because it is about your future. But as it is, nobody asks you for your opinion. How you want this to happen, nobody cares. But it is your future. Because what is done now, the remainder will be left for you. But nobody cares for your opinion. Nobody cares. Policy making processes, you are out. We are still making policy in the country with the old stuff, not the new ones. Because if all OPOs start making policies that are not inclusive of the youth, they will make policies that suit them. They will make policies that suit them. But if they involve the youth will see in the future.
He's the political leader of the National Republic People's Party, Councillor David Owa, there speaking. Labor rights advocate and chief executive officer of Liberia Labor and Governance Alliance, Josh Tengbe, has submitted a draft bill to the House of Representatives seeking to amend Chapter 16, Section 16 of the Decent Work Act of 2015. Speaking to King's FM Wednesday, Tengbe described Liberia's current minimum wage structure as shockingly low and inconsistent with the standards of International Labour Organization. According to him, the proposed amendment aims to establish a comprehensive and enforceable minimum wage framework covering both the formal and informal sectors of the Liberian economy.
The current documents that we have, our Decent Work Act, it said we got two sort of workers, informal, two sectors of workers, informal sector and the formal sector. But trust me, it did not break it down. There is a need to break it down. The informal sector, they got even semi-skilled people in the informal sector. So is he also telling us, take for an example, an electrician working on a car electrician. I know how that is expensive, because those guys charge you sometimes 150 to do piece of job. So that is a technical work. Are you also categorizing them as informal sector? So we need to break this thing down: semi-skill, skill, total skill, experts. So then we will understand exactly which sector of the workforce should be affected by an increment or not. Also, we talk about the employer to keep wage records. Now, the Decent Work Act, Section 16.3b, requires record keeping for 5 years. Therefore, there is no monitoring system to ensure accuracy. How does the Ministry of Labor verify the authenticity of this wage record? The new bill that we are bringing now, it introduced a digital wage record registry, integrating the Liberia Revenue Authority, NASCO, and Ministry of Labor in conjunction with the National Bureau of Employment at the Ministry of Labor. So, Steven, when I sit back and think about how labor inspectors that have been commissioned to go out there and represent the Ministry of Labor, how they are not carrying out their work function, I feel sad. Now, sometimes I get to be more sentimental and want to blame it entirely or squarely on the Minister of Labor. But then sometimes you need to be rational enough to know that these people are independent thinkers too. They were given job-related functions to go and carry out. They are not doing it. Now, it is the responsibility of the Minister of Labor to critique them and call for a review of these guys, work function, maybe monthly or semi-monthly or XYZ, right? Maybe these things are not being done. Take for an example, the enforcement arm at the Bureau of Employment at the Ministry of Labor. That enforcement arm, I will say for now, it is totally useless to the people of Liberia. Sorry for my choice of word, but it's totally useless to the people of Liberia. How?
Josh Tengbe is a labor rights advocate and chief executive officer of the Liberia Labor and Governance Alliance. They are speaking. The president of the National Trial Judges Association of Liberia, Judge Nancy Sami, has urged the newly appointed magistrates to serve with integrity and independence. Speaking on behalf of the National Trial Judges Association of Liberia at a commissioning ceremony held on Tuesday at the Temple of Justice, Judge Sami congratulated the newly appointed magistrates. She described the occasion as a continued effort toward improving access to justice across the country.
On behalf of the National Association of Trial Judges of Liberia, I extend warm congratulations to all the appointed and commissioned magistrates. Today's occasion marks another step in a continuous effort to strengthen access to justice and enhance the delivery of judicial service across our nation. As we assume your respective positions, the work of the magistrate is very important in our jurisdiction, because you as a magistrate for judges are the true members to whom the image of the judiciary can be seen, because you are the first person of the judiciary before our people appear. And from that, the first impression of whether justice in the employee is fair, impartial, and timely. Therefore, the responsibility you assume today is both an honor and a further. We as members of the National Association of Church Leaders of Nigeria have always championed the principles of competence, integrity, and accountability as the foundation of our judicial system. We believe that every appointment within the judiciary must reflect those values. This by institutional requirements, but to preserve the public's confidence in our courts. We acknowledge that every institution faces moments of tension between principle and practicability. Yet, it is in such moments that our collective commitment to the rule of law must be firm. Let us therefore continue to uphold the standards that define the dignity of the bench and the honor of our courts. We all should to serve with humility, diligence, and independence. With your service, and pride to the judiciary, and the assurance of the people that you listen to the families.
George Nancy Sami is the president of the National Trial Judges Association of Liberia. They're speaking. What if you just joining us with the time half past the hour? A reminder to listening to King's Newsroom, the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Thursday, November 6, 2025. I'm Ian Newton. Topa presenting stories we're following this morning. The Solidarity and Trust for New Day threatens the Bulkwhite plan meeting with the Minister of Justice if the current leadership of the Liberal Council of Churches is included. Stan says the religious group is compromised. Criminal Kosi, presiding judge Usman Fekat, others. Former Foreign Affairs Deputy Minister for Administration, Madam Thelma Sawyer, to surrender her passport for allegedly misleading the court regarding the duration of a medical stay. Liberia Refugees Repatriation and Resettlement Commission seeks the amendment of an act establishing the LRRC in order to expand its mandate to include its authority to create awareness and statelessness in the country. Away from Liberia, at least 9 people have been killed after UPS cargo plane crashes in Kentucky. These are stories who follow me here this morning on King's Newsroom. We are taking another short break. We'll be back in continuation of the program. Welcome and thanks for rejoining. On this one now, former Broom County Chapter Chairman Sibley Vayao has accused former Vice President Joe Howard Taylor and Representative Marvin Cole of influencing major development and appointments in Broom County during the regime of the CDC government. Vayao said he had dreamed of becoming city mayor of Banga City and was promised by the CDC leadership, but his hope was later dashed due to alleged political influence from some higher-ups in the county. He claimed that Representative Marvin Cole later intervened, which resulted to his appointment as Labor Commissioner of the county. The former CDC Broom County Chapter Chairman noted that there was serious internal wrangling in the coalition, noting that he was pressured to leave the CDC and join the NPP, something he vehemently opposed.
When it came to the point of appointment in government, like I said, Broom County was given to NPP. So every other person who need to have a job here, you got to go through either the vice president or Marvin Cole.
Yeah.
So I was promised to be a city mayor.
Okay.
That was the initial job that was promised me, and that was my dream. I wanted to be a mayor instead of Ghana.
That was a 10.
Yes.
When the coalition won.
Yes.
Okay.
That was what I begged everybody, I prayed to everybody for. I said I can perform better here. When I quit myself here, people told me, say, okay, the president has given. I went to Morovia National. We had all the conversation to the extent we went to an office. He and myself went to the CDC headquarters. We had meetings with the CDC leadership. And they committed that they were going to give me the city mayor position. I was grateful. Only to be waiting for it and hear different news. I came, I confronted the former vice president about it. I think the days it still be all announced. They are saying a couple of names to replace me, and the people said they could not replace me with those names. They were going to be a disservice. So if they don't have a perfect person, then they should let me be. And what I was in the dark, right? I thought we've had a conversation, and I was okay. The vice president told me that time, your conference on a scholarship coming up. We finish giving that position up. That was at the presidential palace. I walked away and said that you asked for me one day. I've made a contribution in this party, and definitely one day somebody will ask for me. And then Lomax, Sema Lomax used to work in the office of Morocco. I think they had a couple of conversations around. That's how people kept telling me, say, this is unfair. A young playboy have worked tirelessly, and you guys.
He's CDC former Bond County chapter chairman, Sibley Vayao, there speaking. Over 100,000 Liberian dollars was reportedly stolen after armed robbers attacked a residence of a businessman, Frank Twazaman, in Benstown along the Marshall Road in Magibi County early Wednesday morning. Speaking to the station via cell phone, Twazaman's fiancée, Elvide Coulter, recounted the harrowing experience. She explained that more than 15 armed men carrying guns and other deadly weapons forcibly entered their compound, demanding money while discharging live rounds at her and her family.
This morning, I heard a loud noise in my face. When I gathered to look through the window, I saw armed men. They were up to 15. They burst the gate. They were already in the fence. They started chucking rock to my window. They nearly killed my 3 years old son. Chucking rock, shooting gun. They went at the back of the house. They burst the iron gate. They shooting all the window glasses in my house as I'm speaking to you. Everything went down. My husband trying to put the situation under control. No way. We are calling our neighbors. Our neighbors there, we got two armed men each. If our husband people move, they will kill us. It's up to 2 hours. They busting, chasing the wall. Not small thing to bring the entire whole frame down to enter the house. They're making all kinds of threatening remarks. How if they enter, they will kill, they will rape. So my husband knew that there was nobody there to come to our aid. How he asked me. He said, what do you want? He said, we'll come for the money. We'll come for the money in a brown bag. So he went inside. He took the money in a brown bag. He brought it. He said that the money in a brown bag. They will stop us in the house. They said, you will not tell us what to do. We don't will tell you what to do. Put the money outside. So he opened the brown bag. He started chucking the money outside because there was no way that anybody could come to our aid. If he was going to waste just a minimum, we were going to cost him a family life. So when he put the money outside, they said the money is not enough. We should put the remaining money outside. And then he said, this is all I have. I don't have any other money here. My family comes first. Take the money and go. They said they can't do it. They left the back. They went to my room back door. They started beating our other door again to open it. Say that in that room, the money, in fact, the workers kill him.
She's Evelyn Goto, the wife of Frank Twazaman, explaining her ordeal about the armed robbery. The executive director of Liberia Refugees Repatriation and Resettlement Commission is proposing the amendment of an act establishing the LRRC in order to expand its mandate to include its authority to create awareness and statelessness. Jackson P. says since the establishment of the LRRC, the West African Regional Organization, ECOWAS, and the United Nations have all added another challenges when it comes to issues of people made stateless on the universe.
There are a lot of things that we're doing before we went over there. The institutional running, they have done a lot of good work for the issue of statelessness. The convention that established or that addressed statelessness was, I think, 1954, and Liberia acceded to that in 1963. But we have not been able to domesticate that. Okay, in other words, we agree. We say, yeah, we agree with the principles of statelessness and so on, but we have not made it our own in Liberia.
Okay, so we are not done that. Mr. Festus Logan, Abla, many of those brains work together and put instruments together with our partner, and they develop a national action plan to end statelessness. It has not been implemented. So, in this public manner, I would ask that the national legislature of Liberia and the government of Liberia put together or react, or the Refugee Act does not include the issue of statelessness. So I hereby call on the national legislature to amend the LRRC 1993 Act so as to include the issue of statelessness in our mandate. When that is done, and some of the other steps that we are taking that have to do with awareness, that have to do with doing away with traditional practices, that people don't want to take birth certificate. When we do all of those things, hopefully, and by the grace of God, it's going to reduce the issue of statelessness in Nigeria. And we are in support of you, and we'll do all we can to promote the idea and work in harmony with you to avoid, to mitigate statelessness.
Also remarking during the program, the convener of Liberia campaign to end statelessness, Bishop Brown, underscored the need for the Liberian government to conduct a survey in order to know the number of stateless people in the country. According to Bishop Brown, a lot of people are gradually becoming stateless, and this has the propensity to deny these people the rights of basic social services.
It's 10 years now, since 2015, when ECOWAS decided that every country in West Africa should develop a national plan of action to fight statelessness. And ever since 10 years ago, Liberia has not filed officially that national plan of action. We've been part of the process, we've made the validation, and our representative has even gone as far, as West Africa, Togo, Benin, to be able to, interact with other stakeholders on this. But now is the time. Statelessness is like outside children, inside children. When you got children, you want somebody to be outside? No. Second thing is, we want to reinforce also what he said. The 1993 Act that created the HRRC needs to be amended to include a legal provision for the care of stateless people and statelessness in Liberia by the government of Liberia through the HRRC. Are you in agreement with that? Yeah. We want to make a proposal. There's a need for a survey, and we're talking to the university about this, talking to other partners and HRRC, and we can bring in legis so that we can develop a proposal for a survey to assess the state of stateless person in Liberia. We haven't done that yet, and we really need to do that in Liberia so we know exactly. Right now, we're talking about 40,000 or so Burkina Faso in Southeast Liberia. So we have challenges all across our borderlines that we need to, and even among within country, we need to ensure that we can, come up with something and do this survey so we can know exactly what is the state, of statelessness, in Liberia.
He's Bishop Brown. They're speaking. Earlier, you heard the voice of the Executive Director of Liberia Refugees Repatriation Resettlement Commission, Jackson Pay, who spoke earlier. And finally, away from Liberia, at least 9 people were killed when a UPS cargo plane crashed while taking off from an airport in Louisville, Kentucky on Tuesday evening, the state's governor said. Earlier, Auntie Blanchard said the plane's 3 crew members were likely to be among the dead after the plane exploded as it departed Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport at around 17:15 local time, 22:15 GMT. At least 11 other people were injured when the plane crashed, sending thick plumes of black smoke into the sky. Officials warned that people suffered very significantly when it comes to injuries in the incident, and the death toll could rise. Louisville Major Craig Greenberg said on Wednesday that the airport had reopened its runway so flights were able to resume. At least 16 different families have reported loved ones unaccounted for according to Bashar. 2 workers at the auto business that was struck were still unaccounted for as Tuesday evening, and it is not known how many customers were on the premises when the crash happened. In a statement, UPS said 3 crew members were on board, adding, "We have not confirmed any injuries or casualties. Preliminary investigation is underway, but officials have said it is too early to say what caused the crash." On that notice, I would like to go home this morning on this edition of King's Newsroom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. But just before we go home this morning, let's remind you of stories we've been following. The Solidarity and Trust for a New Day threatens to boycott planned meeting with the Ministry of Justice if the current leadership of the Liberia Council of Churches is included. Stan says the religious group is compromised. Criminal Court C presiding judge Usman Fekat orders former Foreign Affairs Deputy Minister for Administration, Madam Tillman Sawyer, to surrender her passport for allegedly misleading the court regarding the duration of a medical stay. Liberia Refugees Repatriation and Resettlement Commission seeks the amendment of an act establishing the LRRC in order to expand its mandate to include its authority to create awareness and statelessness. Away from Liberia, at least 9 people have been killed after UPS cargo plane crashes in Kentucky. These are stories we follow here this morning on King's Newsroom. I would like to say many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, news editors who helped in making this package our sources. Better still join us this afternoon at 1 o'clock, at which time we will be here with another splendid and intriguing edition of the program. My name is Newton Tuba. Thanks for listening and watching. Good morning.